right, welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time for us to continue on with the top 10 champions in each class. We do this semi-annually. The first iteration was in December of last year. We're now into June. I'm going to give you my servers rankings. Everyone on my Discord server gets to vote, and people with roles of prominence or honor, the most active members, get to suggest champions. And then I will go through my top 10 too. This is something that was requested last year, was for me to go through my top 10 and kind of talk about those champions. So we will do both those things. Hopefully you have caught the other 4 top 10s that we've already put out so far, which is Mutant, Tech, Cosmic, and Mystic. I've started with the least strong in Mutant, which feels crazy to say, having played this game for so long and knowing how strong Mutant was in comparison to the rest of the classes. And now we're at what I consider to be the second strongest. Now, hopefully you're familiar with the monthly tier list that I do, that it has the oversight, the input, the education, the knowledge, experience of the MCoC Illuminati. Some people I'm grateful for their help. And that's where you're going to see that my list look a little bit different, right? Because this is just going to be mine. You're really going to see it here in skill. I think some people are going to have some strong reactions, but it's my honest truth and what I believe, and we'll talk about it. And then next month, we'll get right back to doing the monthly tier list. We've been doing it for over 3 years now. We'll get right back to it with the MCoC Illuminati. If you're interested in other people's opinions, and you want them now for this month, B McG will be still doing his tier list. Make sure you check that out. And then Campo MC has been doing this very, very cool top 10 of his own. I have thoroughly enjoyed watching all of them, listening to all of them, and it is going to be different than what you're going to see in my videos and in this one. All right, let's go ahead and jump straight to it. Let's start off with where we're coming from. At the end of last year, my server had Fury as the #1, followed very closely by Kingpin. They were like their own tier. ShangChi was his own tier at #3, then Moleman, Valkyrie. Valkyrie was just really starting to come on. We're starting to see it in Valkyrie. Falcon, Stealthy, Crossbones, Hitmonkey, and Elsa Bloodstone. Big drop from Valkyrie to Falcon, though, just to kind of give you an idea of those tiers. And I'll continue to do the tiers as we go through this video here. In my own, I had already moved Kingpin ahead. Now, that's how we have it in my monthly tier list, right? And when we first did that, you're crazy. In fact, I got out videos like pretty close to Kingpin even buffed. I'm like, I think he might be the best skill champion in the game. Of course, a lot of people were very upset about it. They let me know what an idiot I am. And now people are like, oh yeah, of course, Kingpin, always been great. Now we move on to Fury, Shang-Chi, Valkyrie, then Falcon, Elsa Bloodstone, Killmonger, Moleman, Stealthy, and Hitmonkey. And the list is going to look very, very different. Skill just keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And of course, there are honorable mentions, but we'll go into this with this. So, all right, my server's rankings, there are honorable mentions. The ones I really want to make sure I call out are Sakura, Jabari Panther, and Stealthy. Jabari is an interesting one. She's going to come up later, not in my top 10. But with her cleanse mechanic and some things that I think you're really going to be interested in hearing, or you're going to enjoy hearing, I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure you'll let me know. And then in my honorable rankings, and I know this is going to feel like a cop-out, but skill is just so good, and it really feels like, what do you need? What is the defender requiring you? What is the node requiring you, right? And we talked about this in other videos, so I'm not going to go into it in depth, but I've got Elsa, Hitmonkey, Killmonger, Aegon. If long-form content comes out and he's good for it, you're going to see his stock go way back up again. Mantis, especially after her buff. We don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I'm excited to see it and hear about it. Masakura, phenomenal. Atuma, and then Agent Venom with all of his synergies. And when you're just trying to do a top 10, all of these champions are phenomenal. The ones in the honorable mention are phenomenal. I know you've seen these videos before. Hopefully you've seen the whole series. You know, we're looking for flaws here, right? So when I talk about the flaws, it doesn't mean they're bad. It just means there's got to be a way to differentiate between all of them. Okay, let's jump into this. Number 10 was a virtual tie between 3 champions. I think they were 1 point off when I tallied up all the votes. So I just gave them all the number 10 because I think they deserve it and it makes sense, which was Elsa Bloodstone. She's coming as a 7-star. I'm going to talk to you more at length about the 7 stars and 6 stars as we get closer to July 4th weekend, and then soon thereafter. I will get out some videos on that because I know people are looking for rank up advice. But I think her coming as a 7-star is reminding a lot of us of just how powerful she is. Atuma. I really like Atuma. Now, I already used him to defeat this last, was it Bahamut Hulk boss? He was great for it. That was before his buff and before I really even knew how to play him. And he's also incredibly unique. We talked about this a lot in the Mystic one and also in Cosmic about champions who are good enough. They are unique, right? That gives them something that I think that makes them long lasting, potentially timeless, but they've got to have the damage to back it up. Now that he's got this buff, he's got the damage to back it up and take advantage of his uniqueness in this class, right? With the way he handles ability accuracy and reversing it and that sort of thing. And then, of course, he is a good defender. And then Killmonger. I do believe Killmonger is falling off. We demoted him in the last monthly tier list, so I don't want to overstate it. But I do believe he is falling off. Okay, and that was my server's number 10. Let's go ahead and talk about my number 10 with his Stealthy. As you know, I am not a big fan of him. I just don't enjoy playing him. In fact, I used to mock the champion quite a bit, playfully and in fun, with some people on my server who are really big fans. What's up, Snoops? And here's the fact of the matter is, I think Battlegrounds has highlighted just how great these nuke champions can be, and he is one of the best. And then he has gotten a tremendous amount of synergies. I think the Scorpion is definitely one of them, and I believe another one is Iceman. Those of you who know, though, you can put it in the comments. But one is definitely Scorpion, and that has helped him out significantly. And here's the thing. If you're questing with Scorpion, you're having a good time. So this is not like bringing along even Sabretooth, although Sabretooth does have his uses. But this is a high quality champion. Scorpion, probably one of the best champions in the game, and really helping Stealthy out, kind of fixing what were some of the quote unquote flaws with Stealthy. He's a phenomenal champion. I think very deserving of that number 10 spot, just general overall best. All right, moving on to number 9. My server's number 9 is Falcon. He will come up later in my list, so we'll talk about him then. Number 9 on my list is Moleman. He did get a nerf, right? And I think it existed in the game long enough where we can call it a nerf. I know technically it was a fix and that sort of thing, and if you had read his ability, it's something we had talked about on this channel a lot, right? Myself, DLL, Campo, and folks, and we'd gotten that news out, but so much time had gone by, I think a lot of us genuinely wondered and legitimately wondered, like, maybe they're just going to leave it alone, and then lo and behold, one day they made it more difficult for him to keep his True Strike. And he's still a great champion, but I think that the ease with which people were taking nodes has now been removed. And as a result, I think we're finding a lot of other champions to do it. Moleman can still access a lot. He has a ton of utility. You can keep his True Strike. You can get rid of debuffs. You've got to play him significantly more precisely, let's call it. And I think we're finding other champions. This has a lot to do with what I've been talking about, where these champions have all this utility, but more and more it feels like the game is asking us for these specialized uses. So all that utility is great. It's phenomenal. And that's why he's the number 8 champion or number 9 champion for me. But what you often find is there's someone who's better at that specialty or more powerful, and you can go with them. And that's why I think he's fallen down a little bit because of that nerf or fix or however you want to phrase it. Let's go ahead and move on to our number 8 champion. My server's number 8 champion is Crossbones. You're going to also see him later on in my list. So we'll talk about Crossbones when it comes up through my turn. My number 8 is Baron Zemo. Now, I really love Baron Zemo. First of all, it's just the dude's cool, right? Like MCoC and in MCU. Then just everything about Zemo is cool. And so let's just address it. Let's accept it. And now let's actually analyze the champion. There's a lot of, and I'm not going to call them cheese because I believe they were intentionally built in. I don't think this is Ronan going up against champions with a ton of buffs sort of a thing. I think this is more like let's go with Namor and champions that have the damage back, where this was intentionally built in. This is something that happens in the game. I think the designer just found a lot of these really small, cool uses, and Zemo's having a blast with them. One of my favorite things to do with Zemo is actually go against champions who are bleed immune or are gonna like purify all of these debuffs. It's just very fun, and it is powerful. Why I don't have him higher is I don't think these are littered throughout the game. They're not prevalent. I don't think you can just enter a generic quest knowing or believing that they're going to be there. And kind of similar to what I was saying about Moleman is there's often going to be champions who are like more specialized and can attack something better for you. Now, I've said this about a couple other champions along the way here, Gore being one of them, just to give you a hint if you haven't seen all the videos, is I do believe, I feel like long form content is probably coming. It's been a long time since we've had one. And with the way his bleeds are permanent, I could see him wrapping up significantly. In fact, when he came into the game, that's what I thought he was going to be used for. If he's great for that, whatever it is, whatever the new Abyss is, and if those rewards are good enough, I think you're going to see his stock skyrocket immensely. Just like I've mentioned with Shuri and Gore, these are very good champions that are already on my top 10. And then if format comes out where they can extend or really take use of this long form ramp, I think you're going to see them move up even higher. I have mine at rank 5. I'm very, very happy with my rank 5. Let's go ahead and move on to the number 7 champion. My server's number 7 is Moleman. We've talked about him at length already. And this is a small tier jump for me. And this is hard for me because Falcon is one of the most boring champions to play. I would honestly almost rather play like Archangel or Magneto. But he's so effective. You cannot deny it. And, you know, one of the things that I feel like really shows this is when you're in a battleground deck and you got everything really nicely set up and you're in this match. And then you've got your thing going, right? Or some champion where you just like, I'm good to go. I'm going to place a defender. Bad things are going to happen. My opponent has no way of they got a Falcon. Why? There's no way they would have drafted him early. There was no way, but he just showed up in their final pick, and now they are going to destroy my thing because they are going to be able to turn off his ability accuracy. They're going to put lock on. They're going to parry. They're going to 5-hit combo, and they're going to do that until my thing is dead. And Falcon is good enough where he's going to do it quickly. That's Falcon. I think he's more often someone that frustrates the heck out of you because your opponent got him, or you're like not excited that you have him, but you are relieved that he showed up and will handle the problem for you. He's very reliable. He's a great buff. I have him at number 7. If I got a rank 2, I would, or a 7-star, I would probably take him to rank 2 if I had him awakened. He's very good. I don't want to talk about him anymore. Moving up to number 6, and it was a tier jump from my server. They really did a nice job with the skill, and it was interesting to see how they grouped. It felt like they really felt strongly on it as a whole. Moving up to number 6 was actually Zemo, who we've already talked about. And my number 6, as you can see on the screen, is Crossbones. I have him and Falcon pretty much together, and I think it's just a little bit of like, what do you want? One, I think, does require more high skill, that being of Crossbones, although Crossbones' highs are significantly higher, especially if you have them with the high sig, right? We've talked about this a lot in my various ranking videos, and I've talked to you about how turning off ability accuracy, it just keeps coming up, not only in questing and war, but in battlegrounds. These are the high intensity modes, and that's really going to help you in the rest of the game. He also is better against heroes, and I used to hold that against him, but what I've realized in playing my own Crossbones is he's really good against non-heroes, and then against heroes, he's even better. He can turn off the ability accuracy, he can get rid of these debuffs, he can do significant damage, he doesn't crit, so he's fulfilling that niche role as well. I love Crossbones. He's very much 6, and I don't currently see him falling off. I think a lot of new champions, and we'll talk about that because we're getting pretty close to where I think a lot of you are going to turn to the comment section of this video, and we'll talk a little bit about this sort of thing. Let's go ahead and move on to the number 5 champion. All right, my server's number 5 is actually Kate Bishop. No surprise to me, you will actually see her later on my list, and that did signify another tier jump for my server's list. And I know a lot of you are like, I don't care what your server's doing, dude. How can you possibly have Nick Fury at number 5? Now, I don't know. I don't see every YouTube video out there, but I know we were very early on, I think the first, to say Kingpin is the best skill champion overall. Like I said, it was considered like almost heresy at the time, and I think now it's just kind of accepted. Nick Fury is phenomenal, okay? If you put on deep wounds and you go in, you can destroy a single fight. You are so often in war, he gets sent to fight, so he's really not an ideal counter to, aside from the fact that if you put on some of the recoil masteries and you boost really big and you put in deep wounds and you end all your combos in light and you close your eyes and hold your breath and you pound buttons, you're probably going to win it. And if something goes wrong, you at least have the second life decoy or the second life, right, to help you out. But then a lot of times in those pathing, if that happens early, like it's not uncommon. In fact, it's relatively common over the course of war season for you to get the alerts in your BG chat where someone's like, shoot, something went wrong. I've lost my second life. And now you've got to totally redo the plan. And I know that it's just a matter of like, what do you want? I think there's some people who are going to look at that and be like, yeah, that means he's amazing. He can take fights he's not designed for. And there's going to be people like me who are like, he's phenomenal. I think this is an incredible weapon. But I believe that the game is asking, it's moving. And I believe the game is often asking us to do things that other champions are better at. He has a ton of utility. He's nearing Quicksilver levels of utility. However, I do think his utility is a little more difficult to access. His tactical charges and those sorts of things. Now, I know you can bring in a synergy, but now you're bringing in a synergy. You're bringing in Captain Marvel, who's very good, but she didn't even make the honorable mention in my cosmic list. Of course, there's a synergy with Quake, which is really nice, but Quake doesn't even exist as a 6-star. And 7 stars are kind of taking over the landscape. Those aren't his only synergies. He's very good. Again, this is the number 5 champion, in my opinion, of skill. Here's the other thing. I do believe that the skill class is moving on. I think, I talked to you about this, and I enjoy this. I enjoy reading the tea leaves. I enjoy prognosticating. I've been doing this for years. I think it's part of what you all enjoy about my channel too. I'm okay. I'm comfortable going out on that limb. And you'll even see me do rank ups based on it. And sometimes I get things wrong. Right? I do. And that's okay. That's part of the fun. I think the skill class is slowly moving along. Now, I think Nick's statistics are so absurd that if you look at his abilities, you really should. It took our community figuring out, why would I try to get up the internal bleeds? I'm just going to end combos in light, right? But if you look at his abilities, it really looks like you're supposed to be trying to get up these internal bleeds, land heavy and stuff like that. But his stats are so absurdly strong, and he's got the safety into the second life that it's allowing him to hang on, and he's doing a phenomenal job, and I have him at 5. But I believe the skill class is being asked to do other things, and it's being asked to do other things by very difficult defenders. Now, Nick got, I think, lucky that Quicksilver has the Avengers tag. As a result, he's able to shut down Quicksilver's evade from the very get-go, and you can just throw the SP1s, keep up those tactical charges, and it goes on long enough where you can typically get down the Quicksilver before he gets you down. I love Nick. Let me know in the comments after you've heard more of this if you're like, dude, you crazy? Or crazy like a fox. You let me know. Let's move on to the number 4. Our server's number 4 is ShangChi, and you're going to see ShangChi later in my list, and so we will talk about him then. This is a bit of a tier jump for me. Well, it's not really a tier. It's just kind of like, what do you want? I do recognize how powerful Fury is. And I think you could make an argument for number 1 from Fury on, okay? I don't think you're wrong if you think Fury's the best. I just disagree. Is Kate Bishop. She's number 4. I will get out my Kate Bishop video. It's just this is taken over, and then I've had these amazing pulls, and so other videos have come out first. But I've got a bunch of Kate Bishop fights. She helped me get all the way to Celestial in Battlegrounds. And I'm only using probably 50 to 75% of her kit because those fights are designed to be very fast. She's got a passive, which I told you when she came in, we first started ranking her, I was like, that is outrageously unique in the skill class. And it signaled to me, there's something different going on here. And as we've talked about with champions who are unique, it's like that opens the door, but they've got to be good enough to get through the door. And she is. Her damage is fantastic. And the Caltrops and the Cold Snap that she has aren't just her only tricks and her trick arrows. Did not mean to do that pun. It just happened. She also has a little bit of like AI manipulation. And when you get them, the dependent into the corner, and they'll throw their special. It's not a taunt, so you don't expect an attack reduction. But it is incredibly nice. She's really great. When I talk to you about these champions where if you just get them awakened, you get a cool thing, and then every ability more gets you extra cool stuff. I love that about her. Her SP2 and her SP3 do things. In Battlegrounds, you rarely need it because it's a quick fight and that's what she's accessed for. But I've seen videos, I believe by MSD and by Bitter Steel, of her being fantastic in long form content too. She has very powerful synergies. My personal favorite happens to be with America Chavez. It's part of why I'm so aware of it, because you know how much I enjoy America Chavez. And then this is the thing, because somewhere you're like, okay, that's great, dude. Where you said you're going to tell us all this cool stuff about why Fury and why these other champions you think are moving away, or they're taking over these specialties. She also has that Tranquilize. Now, we first saw it in Mantis, and if, to the best of my recollection, I understand, Mantis is stronger than Kate's, especially against science champions. But that came in, and often I've talked to you about, like, when you see a champion come in with a new ability, it raises my eyebrows. And then when I see it come in a second champion, that is now a trend in MCoC. I know often 2 is not a trend. It still could potentially be a coincidence. But in my experience, 2, especially quick together, it's often a trend. I'm going to keep my eye on this. So she's got passives. They're incredibly powerful. She has multiple accesses for damage in the caltrops and in the cold snap. She also can do like a bit of an unblockable, right, with her crushed. She has the stun evade of Elsa. And I know I'm forgetting a thing or two, but that's a lengthy list already. And that's the sort of thing that is making her unique and signs to me that stuff is moving on. I will not be surprised if when we do this in December, she's the number 2 skill champion in the game, just under Kingpin. Let's go ahead and move on to the number 3. Number 3 for my server was Valkyrie, and it was another tier jump. Valkyrie is in her own tier, basically, as far as they're concerned and their voting. My number 3, as you can see, is ShangChi. Now, ShangChi was my first rank 4 champion. I even took him to Sig 200, and this is back when Sig Stones were a big deal, and even at the tier 1, kind of the in-game players, right? It was still a big deal, and I took him. I don't think it's needed. I don't think it's necessary. If I pull the 7-star, I'm not going to be worried about getting his signature level up. I actually think his stock is back on the rise, and it's due to a couple things. One is that cleanse. The cleanse is incredibly, incredibly unique, and I do feel like it's being asked of us, right? Like Jessica Jones, one of the toughest defenders in the game, is wanting us to cleanse things, and then he's got his incredibly, incredibly powerful slow. Additionally, he has multiple avenues for stun, and he can go unblockable. Now, the unblockable is a buff, so you don't want to use it against Mystics, or if you are, make sure you're aware that there might be Mystic dispersion. But it feels to me as though the things he can do are being asked of us more, and we're seeing stun immunity less and less and less. I'm very happy about that. Sometimes it'll be like on a node in war or something like that. As far as it being something we're just seeing everywhere, that's just not happening. If it starts to come roaring back, it will hurt ShangChi. It will. But we're just not seeing it that much. Slow, I think, is just as powerful as it's always been. Cleanse seems to be getting more and more powerful. And then people like MP Blaze have been showing us that ShangChi can even take hazard shift nodes. You just play him a little bit more slowly. And then here's the theme. You're going to keep hearing this. His uniqueness in that gets him the door open. And then his SB2 blows the whole thing open for you. You can also play him with recoil, or you could not. He'll cleanse those for you. He works great with power backs. He works great without them. I use him in recoil metas, and I use him without recoil. He's phenomenal. And I'm very, very excited that the utility that he brings to the table and is able to access very strongly and quickly and then refresh it is being asked of us more and more. It feels like it's not a coincidence. It feels like a trend. And I really think that in December 2023, we'll still see him in this top 5. 6 months away, who knows? But right now, for me, he is the number 3 skill champion in the whole game. For my server, the 1 and 2 were outrageously close. Their number 2 is Nick Fury, very close with the number 1. For me, my number 2 is Valkyrie. I don't think the game is asking us to do it. They're not, she doesn't have this cleanse that's being asked. She doesn't have the slow that's being asked, right? She doesn't have those things. What she has is an ability to do an immense amount of damage and just completely bypass nodes and defenders' abilities. She's often compared to Quake for that reason, despite their playstyles not being the same. And I get it. It makes sense. And it's phenomenal. That's also not including that she can go completely stun immune and just essentially turn off unstoppables, right? The defenders just doesn't act as if they are. We see her in metas and battlegrounds where I think it was the one where champions get more power with the buffs. I can't even think of what it's called right now. And she was just knocking things out of the park. And then that went away, and she still was. She's one of my most frequently banned champions in battlegrounds, mainly because I don't have her at a high rank, and she is definitely going to be going to a high rank for me. I was too resistant to her. I was too resistant, and I thought, no, she's only good in these metas and these nodes where you have to hit the block. In ones where you actually hit the champion, she's going to be too slow. She's not going to have enough damage. And I was 100% wrong. Now, you can see I still had her as the number 4, my number 4 champion. So I respected her, saw her as being great. But again, like I said, when you're doing the top 10, you're looking for flaws. You're looking for ways to differentiate. And for me, again, she is outrageously unique, not only in her class, but in the whole game. There is no one else like her. Masakura hits into the block, but he does need to hit the champion. Valkyrie? She can just erase that whole thing. She's just playing her own game. The number 1 for both myself and my server is Kingpin. I put out so many videos on him. Like I said, I had him at rank 3 before his buff even went live. It was almost a bit of like a dare, fun joke thing I was doing with my channel. And I was like, we know the channels or champions are getting buffed. I'll do Kingpin, it'll be fun. And then he ended up being amazing. I happened to have him rank 3. So as a result, I think I was able to see how powerful he was so early. I was like, I'm just doing things and just good things are happening. Originally, we thought he needed Hood to do the debuff shrugging, but then I started playing without, and a lot of community members did too. And we're like, oh no, what happens is he eventually, even if he doesn't shrug them, he just shrugs all of them and he starts hitting outrageously hard. He can apply a debuff to do the damage. He cannot if you need that to not happen. He's phenomenal. He is so incredibly versatile. I think it's probably going to be a very, very long time before we see him as a 7-star. Now, and here's the thing. As I talked to you about Nick Fury and how I feel like it's his stats, like when I really look at him, I don't feel like his flow is very good. Hopefully you're familiar with me using that term, but essentially it's how, if you're just playing the champion or if you're aware of their mechanics, you're just kind of playing them, and then the good things just kind of happen. I don't really feel like that happens with Fury unless you just really kind of, pardon the phrase, but you just dumb him down. You're like, I'm just going to parry 5-hit combo into lights. I'm just going to end in light. And like, again, I don't really think that's the loop that was necessarily intended. But if you throw on Deep Wound and his stats are so strong that he pulls it off and he saves you, that's not Kingpin. I think Kingpin's loop is actually really good. I think it's relatively intuitive. Someone like me was doing it before I really even understood what I was doing. I don't think it's that Kingpin's stats are incredible. I just think he's an incredible build. He's a great, simple design that happens to be incredibly powerful in what we're being asked, right? I use him all the time to beat spots in battlegrounds. And you're like, well, he doesn't really counter miss. And it's like, no, he doesn't. But he's shrugging all this stuff, all those things that Spot's putting on him, and he goes into his overpower. And you can throw his SP1, which often gets overlooked. That debuff reduces ability accuracy. Then he's just healing the whole time. They tried to trim it down a little bit, right? But he's still healing a lot. I used to love using him in AQ, and he would just get me through with no items. He was like, I don't want to even say it, but he was like that other guy we all use because we don't want to use items. And it wasn't as powerful, and it wasn't like as auspicious, let's say, but it worked. And then, I'm not including this too much in this list because this is mainly about offensive use and rank ups and those sorts of things, but he's also a really good defender. If Battlegrounds is your thing, and I do think you should really look into it because the rewards are so good and it can be fun. It can be frustrating, but it can be fun. He's also a phenomenal defender. As usual, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think I got right. Let me know what you think I got wrong. Let me know if you think my server or I was more on key, especially with your way of thinking. I know the Fury one's going to kind of get me some flack, and I'm very okay with it because it truly is my honest opinion, and you're going to see it in my own personal rank ups. These other champions will be going to rank 5 way before Nick Fury is. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's powerful. I think very smart players are doing it, and they have reasons and purposes for it. It's not going to be me, though. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.